If I were Donald Trump's lawyers in his criminal appeal about the 34-count criminal conviction in New York, I might start looking for a new job, because Donald Trump just issued an executive order where he aimed after a well-known law firm in Washington, Perkins, Coie, to try to take them out of the running of getting any more federal business and to penalize them. But at the same time, he went after all major law firms, all the ones that didn't want to represent him during the last time around because he was too radioactive. And to get back at them, he's now making sure that the Equal Opportunity Commission and Pam Bondi, his Department of Justice head, go after law firms who use diversity, equity, and inclusion in their hiring practices. Well, guess what? Sullivan and Cromwell, come on down. You just filed a brief earlier in the week on behalf of Donald Trump. I happen to take a look at your website right now, and you honor and you applaud diversity, equity, inclusion in the hiring process. So long, Sullivan and Cromwell. I'm going to break down this new executive order and how it's already ricocheted to hit a law firm for Donald Trump here on MeidasTouch and Legal AF. Let's start with the executive order. With much fanfare, Donald Trump sat in his Oval Office with that stupid Sharpie pen and said out loud, let me get the quote right. "It is my honor, an absolute honor to sign this." Now, Perkins Coie, let's start with that firm, then I'll move over to Sullivan and Cromwell. Perkins Coie has nothing to do with equity, diversity, and inclusion, except they always reserved in their summer associate class and for fellowships to make sure that we gave a hand up to those that came from a disadvantaged background, or to have a diverse class in there. You don't want all, I'll just say the obvious out loud. You don't want all white guys in your law firm. I mean, that's not good for anybody. That's not good for client development. That's not good for legal services. That's not good for thinking outside the box, to have everybody in the same box. So he issues, back in 2020 or so, Donald Trump files a lawsuit against Perkins Coie along with Hillary Clinton, the Democratic National Committee. You may remember down in Florida, in Miami, and they get assigned to Judge Middlebrooks. That case got completely thrown out of court, and Donald Trump and Alina Habba got sanctioned almost $1 million by Judge Middlebrooks, who found it was nothing more than a political screed masquerading as a lawsuit without merit, and completely dismissed it. Now, this all stems from, if you remember, the Steele dossier, where, and it was all kind of determined during the Mueller investigation. Apparently, Perkins Coie and two lawyers that worked there that are kind of well known now, Mark Elias, who's no longer at that firm, and Michael Sussman, represented Hillary Clinton in the Democratic National Committee. And they authorized some what we call them as op research, opposing research, black op research, by a company called FPS Fusion, to look into rumors that the Russians have been interfering with the elections in favor of Donald Trump. Robert Mueller, during his investigation, determined that they were trying to actively interfere with the elections, even though Donald Trump says, Russia, 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 no collusion. They're actually, I don't know about collusion, but he was certainly benefiting from the election interference that the Russians were doing for their own benefit. They may not have been colluding, but they were definitely running parallel. It's like two guys out for a jog. They were keeping pace with each other pretty well. I think that's the way that could be concluded. Donald Trump had Bill Barr appoint a new independent counsel, not really that independent, named John Durham, who spent tens of millions of taxpayer dollars going after 3 or 4 different angles of attack. And he got I think he got one conviction out of about 7 or 8 different investigations. He went after Michael Sussman for lying to the FBI under oath about who his client was. He said it was Hillary Clinton. He said it was the Democratic National Committee. He didn't reveal it was Hillary Clinton. But the people he was talking to knew that the firm represented Hillary Clinton. It was on their website. I don't understand how that could be a lie to the FBI. And neither did the jury. He got completely absolved of that case. But Donald Trump got driven mad and ever since has wanted to retaliate against Perkins Coie. So now with this executive order, he's barred them. Here's what he wrote. And then we'll get to Sullivan and Cromwell and diversity, equity, inclusion. The dishonest and dangerous activity of the law firm Perkins Coie has affected this country for decades. Notably, in 2016, while representing failed presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, Perkins Coie hired Fusion GPS, which then manufactured a false dossier designed to steal an election. Well, actually, they consulted with Richard Steele, who generated the dossier. Perkins Coie has worked with activist donors, including George Soros. Oh, I haven't heard his name in a while. He's not even running his own fund anymore. To judicially overturn popular, necessary, and democratically enacted election laws. I love that. Judicially, let's try it again. Judicially overturn. It's a weird phrase. Popular, necessary, and democratically enacted election laws. That means judges took a look at it and said that the election laws violated the Constitution, including those requiring voter identification. In one such case, a court was forced to sanction Perkins Coie attorneys for an unethical lack of candor. How about the court that sanctioned Donald Trump and Alina Habba for suing Perkins Coie? Where is that in a footnote? But I digress. In addition to undermining democratic elections, the integrity of our courts, and honest law enforcement, Perkins racially discriminates against its own attorneys and staff and hiring applicants. They publicly announced that a percentage of quotas in 2019 for hiring and promotion on the basis of race and other categories, violating civil rights laws. It doesn't violate civil rights laws. It may be a little bit sideways of some recent Supreme Court precedent. My administration is committed to ending discrimination under diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yeah, we've seen. And ensuring that federal benefits support the laws and policies of the United States. Those who engage in blatant race-based and sex-based discrimination, including quotas, but purposefully hide the nature of such discrimination through deceiving language, have engaged in a serious violation of public trust. And who knows violations of public trust better than Donald Trump? Their disrespect for the bedrock principle of equality represents good cause to conclude that they neither have access to our nation's secrets nor be deemed responsible stewards of any federal funds. He then goes on. Here's the part that hits his own law firm. In Section 4 on racial discrimination, Trump says, the chair of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the EEOC, shall review the practices of representative, large, influential, or industry-leading law firms. Well, that's easy to find. The American Lawyer publishes a list of the top 200 every year to see if they're consistent with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, including whether large law firms reserve certain positions, such as summer associate spots for individuals of preferred races, promote individuals on a discriminatory basis, permit clients access on a discriminatory basis, or provide access to events, trainings, or travel on a discriminatory basis, and that he authorizes the Attorney General to work on those things as well. Now, that's a wind-up. Let me give you the pitch. Here's what Sullivan and Cromwell, who represents Donald Trump, this is what they have to say on their own website. Now, they just filed a brief about 3 days ago to try to convince a federal court in New York to let Donald Trump appeal his 34-count felony conviction in a federal court instead of state court. New firm. I did a whole report on it. Sullivan, Cromwell. Big law is back. They don't find Donald Trump radioactive anymore. Maybe they will now. Here is, you be the judge. Here's the diversity, equity, and inclusion under a tab called diversity on this Trump law firm's own website. Sullivan and Cromwell is committed to fostering a diverse and inclusive work environment. We believe that diversity is vital to the firm's ability to provide our clients with the highest level of service. I guess those clients include Donald Trump. Accordingly, the firm's culture and policies value the unique abilities and perspective of every individual and support diversity, there's that word again, in its broadest sense, including race, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, disability, and religious affiliation. The firm's diversity committee is co-chaired by a partner in the firm's litigation department and a partner in the firm's general practice department. Other members include senior chair, practice group members, and the rest. The diversity committee, Sullivan and Cromwell, Donald Trump's lawyers continue, in conjunction with the diversity management department, is charged with developing, implementing, and coordinating the firm's diversity initiatives. Realizing the importance of an integrated approach, they will work to monitor it. In addition, our lawyers have diverse backgrounds, speaking 40 languages fluently in 40 different countries. And if you go to the hiring aspect, that was on diversity. If you go to careers, let me show you this picture. I don't know. You've got what appears to be an Asian person, a person from maybe Southeast Asia, two women, a bald white guy. I mean, I guess they're trying to talk about diversity. Maybe they should look over the executive order addressing the risks from Perkins Coie and decide whether they're now going to be targeted. And maybe that management committee and the general counsel for Sullivan and Cromwell should rethink whether they want to be in bed with Donald Trump. I love when a law firm gets hoisted on its own petard when they finally make the decision that the almighty dollar is greater than any ethics or any policies or any culture that make up their law firm. And they were willing to sacrifice all of that on the altar of their greed to make a buck with Donald Trump and to be able to list representing the 47th president in a criminal appeal. They counted on that more than all the other aspects that make them a law firm. I'm Michael Popok. I'm going to continue to call it out right here on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. You've reached the right place for all things that matter, including DEI. No one tells us what to say. We're completely independent. We're completely uncensored. And we are building this channel, this network with you and you alone without any outside investors. Come on over as well to Legal AF, the YouTube channel, Legal AF MTN. We're going to cross 500,000 on the odometer of subscribers this weekend with your help. And I appreciate you. Till my next Legal AF contribution, I'm Michael Popok.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.